I'd like to share with you some points that I found that are very helpful for sadhana. Some you may be familiar with, others you may not be so familiar. Nevertheless, I always find it helpful to hear things, even if you've heard them before. The sadhaka, the spiritual aspirant, must remember that spirituality is the mainstream of life and everything else is peripheral to it. With the inspiration from sadhana, you can go on working in the mundane, supramundane and psychic spheres. Also, he said, whatever others may say, your daily spiritual practices should not be reduced or neglected. Without the strength of mind achieved by spiritual practice, nothing great can be accomplished. So what are the things that can help with meditation? Well, the first thing which Baba repeated over and over again was, do more kirtan. Kirtan is the panacea not only for good meditation, but for all problems in life. Baba said, whenever the devotees do kirtan in one place, Purusha takes his seat on the throne of their hearts. He shifts his nucleus to that place. When you're doing kirtan, try not to let your mind wander out the window and start admiring people or things that are out there, or thinking about the people that are doing kirtan in front of you. Just see everything as a manifestation of Baba and enjoy that, not the worldly objects or people that you're seeing or thinking about. Baba used to say at DMC to focus on Sahasrara chakra when doing kirtan as he would leave the pandal, either there or your Ishta chakra. So kirtan is the first thing you have to look at to see whether you're doing not only enough kirtan but proper kirtan. By proper, Baba has given some specific ways how to do kirtan. First one is the hands should be up, held up like this in a state of surrender to Purusha, to Baba. Not like this. As soon as the arms or the shoulders, the elbows go below the shoulders, then you should drop them down to here. This position is not kirtan. This is what you do when someone holds a gun at you. I surrender. This is kirtan, or down like this, but you can use instruments if you want. The other thing that you have to remember is the proper foot movements. With the feet, they should be placed behind the opposite heel, while bending the knee and touching the tip of the big toe. Touching the tip of the toe activates an acupressure point, which is connected to the chakra at the top of the head, called the Sahasrara chakra. This in turn is related to experiencing spiritual consciousness. So while doing this dance and tapping the tip of the big toes can help a lot in putting you into a more conducive state for meditation. Also, bending the knees loosens the knee joints for sitting in sadhana or meditation. Shuffling your feet from side to side or to the front avoids these benefits of loose knees and stimulating the top chakra for better sadhana. So having both the hands and the feet in the correct position gives maximum scope for good ideation and meditation. Of course, doing these things but without any spiritual ideation will not be so good. On the other hand, not to do the dance correctly but having good ideation will still be very beneficial for sadhana, but better to do the dance correctly with cosmic ideation. But before you do the sadhana, and even before you do kirtan, what should you do? You should take second lesson, take Guru Mantra. Feel that you're doing, that Baba is doing it through you, and you're doing it for Baba, to please Baba. And another point with that is you should ideate that Baba is watching you as you do your sadhana. In fact, Baba says, during meditation you should think that the entity on whom you are meditating is looking at you as his object. He is not your object. He sees whatever you are doing. This should be the psychology. He can never be your object. During meditation, you should remember that when the Supreme Entity looks upon you, he sees you as his object. He is not your object, you are his object. Another thing that can help to generate love is Prabhat Samgit. Not any Prabhat Samgit, because there are many different types of themes and topics in Prabhat Samgit, but that Prabhat Samgit which makes you feel connected with Baba, feel close to him, that which expresses the love that you have or that you want to have for Baba. You sing that before sadhana, that will help generate that love. And then when you sit down thinking, now I'm going to become one with you, Baba, I'm going to merge my mind with your mind, your cosmic mind. This is the determination you should have, the one-pointedness. Also, if your concentration is poor, you need to spend more time doing the shuddhis as well as more kirtan. Also, get regular lesson reviews. It's amazing how often I do lesson reviews only to find that they're doing something totally different to what Baba has given. Every 6 months is an ideal to get a lesson review. Now the sadhana itself you should do with a straight back. The advantage of that is that you'll notice that the muscles along the spine are very relaxed when it's very straight. When you slouch, they become very tight in the back. And that's even worse. So keep them straight, and whenever you've experienced the Kundalini rising up your spine, your back will go straight like this, and that's the position, the ideal position for the Kundalini to move quickly up your spine, giving you maximum bliss and concentration. So try and do that. As you get older, it gets harder and harder to keep the back straight, but you should endeavour to do the best you can. One problem I often get asked about is keeping a weight during sadhana. There are a couple of things you can do. First of all, cut out sugar. Sugar will make you very tired. In fact, Baba said for adults shouldn't take sugar because of the detrimental effect it has on your nervous system. So at the very least, keep it to a minimum. And I was also told hot showers will create sleepiness in your sadhana. The other thing that will create sleepiness in your sadhana is eating late at night, eating heavy food at night. Ideally, you should have an early dinner and a light dinner. The classical yogic diet is fruit and milk, particularly hot milk. Baba recommended hot milk before bed, but that's for a sound sleep. But basically keeping it light is an important thing. You'll notice it greatly helps your sadhana in the morning and will inspire you to do more sadhana. You won't be fidgeting or finding it uncomfortable to sit for a long time, or not as bad anyway. The other thing is, if you're feeling sleepy in your sadhana, you should get up and without talking to anyone, go to the bathroom and have a half bath. Then go back and sit down again. Don't look at anyone or anything, don't talk. Just keep your mantra going and then sit down and get back into your sadhana. This will help you a lot. While it's true that with good deep sadhana you need less sleep, if you find that you are sleeping in your sadhana, you may have to consider you need more sleep. Another thing is doing sadhana at the same time, same place, on the same blanket. You know, I was in jail for several years. Eventually I was cleared. But in that time, one advantage I got was the routine was very strict, and so my sadhana was always on time because you'd get a meal at a certain time and you'd get to do sadhana at a certain time. What I noticed was if for some chance I didn't do sadhana on that particular time, at that particular time, my mind would go into a sadhana-like state. My mantra would start going. I'd start feeling quite euphoric and blissful. And it was because my mind had been conditioned to introvert itself at those times that I was having that experience. But what I found, if I kept on missing the time and kept on having these experiences, each time I'd have the blissful experience, it would become less and less intense. So eventually it would go altogether. So always I would try and go back to doing it at the proper time to keep up that spiritual energy. Doing it at the same place also creates a particular vibration, so that when you sit down, the mind quickly goes into that state, into that spiritual introverted state. It's very helpful. And even doing it on the same blanket is important, because that blanket gets vibrated. And if you're doing a particularly long sadhana and the legs are aching, you can change your position, but try and keep your eyes closed so the mind is kept introverted. As soon as you open your eyes, you're seeing the external world, so the mind then becomes extroverted, which goes against the purpose of why you're trying to do sadhana. But if you have to get up to go to the bathroom, remember to open your eyes. It's not good to go out with the eyes closed. You might have an accident. Asanas are very important. They help the glands, which stimulate concentration in the mind. So not only every day, but twice a day is even better. When you're getting your sadhana lesson reviewed, you should also ask about your asanas. And if you don't have asanas, you should get some. Very important. Gossip and talkativeness in particular is very draining and very much extroverts the mind. You find if you're always talking about things, that's what's going to come up in your sadhana. In fact, if you have certain themes continually coming up in your sadhana, look to see if it's a particular activity that you're doing. For instance, if you're always thinking about something that you saw on TV, then you know that's become too dominant and you need to stop doing it. Finally, if you really want to go to the next level and really get into your sadhana, or if you just want to try something newer, here are a few more things to consider. First is to focus on controlling any inferiority or superiority complexes. Inferiority complex means to feel inferior towards Baba, to feel reluctance to express feelings which you deem as shameful or bad or unworthy of being given to your guru. There should be no complex at all, just as a child feels none about expressing its feelings to its mother. Superiority complex here means you might feel you are a great sadhaka, worker, intellectual, or whatever gives you a feeling of pride, vanity, or egoism. This will swell your ego even more than what it is, making it impossible to surrender to Baba or Supreme Consciousness. Baba said, the most dangerous complex in the spiritual sphere is the superiority complex. Those suffering from a superiority complex find it impossible to withdraw the mind from its objects and, to their frustration, find that the mind easily slips away from its point of concentration. They'll never be able to surrender such a mind to Parama Purusha or Supreme Consciousness. There's another reason why this vain egotism needs to be surrendered. Baba says, everything is dancing in the rhythm of Parama Purusha, but people think, I am doing, I am giving, this was done by me, that was done by me, etc. Though people at this stage are moving in the path of sadhana, still there is some defect in them. Their minds do not inspire the minds of others. Their minds do not touch the minds of others. They do not reach the sweetness of others' eye feelings, for they are too preoccupied with themselves. Their approach is defective. Their path is not the path of neo-humanism. The ideal way to develop true surrender, as well as clearing your mind of worldly thoughts in sadhana, is to practice Guru Anishta mantra with ideation all day. Initially, start by saying your Guru mantra before sadhana, sleep, meals, toilet, bath and work. When that becomes a habit, include other activities until Guru mantra and Ishta mantra are going all day. This will not only ensure conducive thoughts for sadhana, but ultimately lead to madhavijja, or the experience of a very sweet and blissful cosmic consciousness perceived in everything. Baba said, to attain him, human beings should practice Shravana, constantly listening to elevated things, Manana, constant spiritual thinking, Nididasham, constant meditation or fixing one's mind on the goal, To attain him, one must penetrate deep within oneself, and for that the development of an introversive outlook is essential. An extroversial outlook will be of no assistance. The constant practice of Guru Nishta mantra develops this introversive mind. So, these are my humble tips for perfecting your sadhana. I hope you find them helpful. There are many other things that you can try that will improve your sadhana, like regular swadhyaya, panchajanya and guru shikasa in the morning, fasting, sentient diet of course, as much as possible, half bath before sadhana or full bath, keeping the body cool. All the other aspects of 16 points will help with your sadhana. As Baba always said, be firm on 16 points. But the main thing is to be consistent, as Baba said. In sadhana, one should remember two essential factors: constant awareness of one's goal and persistent endeavour to attain the goal. He also said, those with spiritual lethargy have time for all other actions, but for spiritual practices there seems to be no time. They say, it's already late today, I'll do a short meditation right now and devote more time to sadhana tomorrow. They sit attentively inside the cinema hall or on the laptop, but in Dharma sadhana they feel sleepy. Namaskar.